the Madden 18 franchise all-time team mode, where we have the all-time Minnesota Vikings, basically the Purple People Eaters, who made it to 4 consecutive Super Bowls, taking on the New Orleans Saints, who are mostly the team that made it to the 2000 or the Super Bowl 45 championship game and ended up winning it. While obviously there are other players from the past and present on both teams, that is just mostly what we're getting at in this franchise mode right now. Um, Still a lot left to come. If you guys have any specific games that you guys want to see, make sure you comment in the comment section down below and let me know which of the future games you want to see happen. Because I mean that's the only way, of course, that we're gonna get anywhere. To be honest with you, you guys are welcome to participate. You want to see the all-time Steelers take on the all-time Patriots here, in what would normally be next week of the season, you know, or you want to see the Steelers Baltimore game here in a few weeks, whatever week 5, 6, whichever week it was. If there's any specific games that you guys want to see from this football season, but with all-time teams, make sure you comment and let me know, or else I won't be able, or else I'll just have to pick 3 games every week to watch. And I mean, the fun of it is that you guys can interact with the series and whatnot. And if you guys are watching way in the future, we're still doing it. You can still comment and let me know what you want to see in the future games to come. As you can see, this is the final game of Week 1. We got Frank Tarkington and the Minnesota Vikings taking on Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. And I got to say, it's going to be a really exciting matchup here in Minneapolis on Monday Night Football. This is going to be a big-time game between the Purple People Eaters and the Saints, as the Vikings getting ready to take the field in that it's honestly spectacular looking Viking ship type thing. But the Saints, honestly, the Vikings right now have a huge advantage. As you probably noticed at the very beginning, the Vikings overall as a team are absolutely impressive and are one of the best teams in the entire league. All around, but especially on defense. That's one of the biggest things that the Vikings are able to succeed at, is their defensive unit. Meanwhile, the New Orleans Saints have a really good offense, but they don't really have a lot of all-time defensive players on their team. So that's going to be a huge thing to watch in this game. Actually, before we go in, let's just double check the teams right now so you guys can see what we're working with. Again, you guys can download the roster I am using. If you just go to BITW 9000 on Madden 18, you can download the all-time team franchise mode. But as you can see, Drew Brees is the starting quarterback for the Saints. Reggie Bush and Deuce McAllister are the 2 top running backs for this team right now. Obviously, Mark Ingram in the near future could be getting up to where those other ones are, but obviously 86 is the highest that we can go on that. Marcus Colston, Joe Horn, Eric Martin, Willie Schneid IV, all looking pretty good for this receiving core for the Saints. Jimmy Graham played most of his career on the Saints, so he's going to be on the Saints all-time team. Then you got the offensive line. You've got a couple of good players, and then you've got a couple of not-so-good players. You got Cameron Jordan at left end, and Jim Wilkes at right end. Not a bad defensive line there. Pretty average defensive tackle position. Ricky Jackson, one of the best left outside linebackers to play the game, one of the only real defensive players to stand out. Obviously, Jonathan Vilma. Manti Te'o's on the team. That's mostly because they don't have another player, and Manti Te'o certainly isn't on the Chargers all-time team, that's for sure. And then Pat Swilling on the right outside linebacker position. Tracy Porter, probably the only good corner to play it in New Orleans for the most part. Von Bell, 77. Jahlil Adai, 78. Honestly, not a very good defense for the New Orleans Saints for the most part. Meanwhile, we got Frank Tarkington and Dante Culpepper and Teddy Bridgewater. Again, I just left him there at what he was at already. Not that it really matters with those two guys ahead of him. And then we got Adrian Peterson and the rookie Dalvin Cook. Probably 81 might be a little bit on the plus side, but for Minnesota, that's probably all you really can get out of the halfback position. They don't really have any good tight or fullbacks that played, but then they got, of course, Randy Moss and Chris Carter and Tony Carter and Sammy White and apparently Michael Floyd. Though I mean, it doesn't that he won't be playing very often. And then, of course, Kyle Rudolph not looking too bad at tight end. Then you got this powerful offensive line. And then you've got the Purple People Eaters on defense. Carl Eller, Jim Marshall, Alan Page, Kevin Williams, Roy Winston, 96 overall left outside linebacker. Scott Studwell, Matt Blair, that powerful 4-3 defense. And then you've got a pretty dominant cornerback core, Harrison Smith and Joey Browner at strong safety. Just absolute powerful defense from the Minnesota Vikings. So that's what we're working with in terms of the... oh yeah, it's on slow. Okay, so that's what we're working with in this game right now, is the Saints are going to kick this thing off and get it to Minnesota. Minnesota heavy favorites in this game, but it should be interesting to see what Drew Brees can do at quarterback as the New Orleans Saints take him down at about the 23-yard line, which will get Frank Tarkington out onto the field here in this final game of the first week on Monday Night Football. And it's going to be interesting to see if Frank Tarkington, Adrian Peterson, and this really good Vikings offense can knock out this rather weak and, I don't know, bottom-heavy defense, where most of the best players on their team are on that defensive line or linebacking core. And there's a nice run from Adrian Peterson for almost 10 yards, and he'll be just shy of the first down at 2nd and inches. So not a bad start at all for the Minnesota Vikings on the first play of the game, as AP makes a huge play, and they line up in the single back for 2nd down and inches. And they hand the ball off, Adrian Peterson right up the middle for another chunk of 7 yards and a first down. So 17 yards off the bat for Adrian Peterson, and it's going to be a challenge for this defense to handle Adrian Peterson in this all-time offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings. Meanwhile, on the flip side, the Vikings aren't going to have very much trouble with the kind of weak offensive line of New Orleans, and that's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Is another big run right up the middle by Adrian Peterson, and another huge chunk of yards for the Minnesota Vikings, as the all-time Vikings looking pretty impressive in probably the toughest division in football, that being the NFC North. As a nice little 3-yard scamper for the Vikings, as we're going to show you once again this Vikings offense. But in terms of all-time teams, the NFC North is by far the best. You've got the Green Bay Packers, who won the first championship, as well as have storied history, as well as the Chicago Bears with that powerful 85 Bears defense, and just an absolutely terrific team, especially on the defensive side of the football. They have 3 95 or higher overall middle linebackers who play for the Chicago Bears defense. And then you've got the Detroit Lions, who might not be the most badass team in the division. However, they can certainly play. They have a powerful wide receiving core, especially with Calvin Johnson. They've got Barry Sanders at running back. Their defense is no pushover either. And then, of course, you've got the Vikings as that 4th team in that amazing division, with the Purple People Eaters and the 4-time in a row Super Bowl appearing Vikings defense. And that's going to be enough for a first down there, as Adrian Peterson surpassed... Oh, never mind. It is 4th down. They're going to kick a field goal. This one's going to be about a 54-yard field goal attempt right here from the Vikings. And Dante Culpepper with the hold, and he hits it, and it's wide right. No good. So the Vikings' first drive stalls out, and that's a win for New Orleans defense, as Drew Brees and the Saints take the field here after the missed field goal at the 44-yard line. And here they set up in the I formation. Drew Brees snapping the football, and he's going to run it to Reggie Bush. And Reggie Bush takes it to the 49-yard line for about 6 yards. And it'll be 2nd down and 4. So not a bad start for the New Orleans Saints here, as things going to start getting going for Drew Brees as they line up in the single back on 2nd down and 4. And there's a nice draw play up the middle, and Reggie Bush with some open space for about 10 yards and a 1st down. So New Orleans is driving early as they want to try and get in the red zone and give themselves an advantage here. As I've got to admit, I did not expect the Purple People Eaters defense to have some trouble this early in the game. And he passes it over to Jimmy Graham, one of Drew Brees' favorite targets all time, for a nice little 4-yard gain. And they'll take 4 yards on every play if they could. That makes first downs really easy. As they line up in the offset I formation, Drew Brees hands the football off to Reggie Bush, who gets eaten alive in the backfield for 0 yards. And that'll bring up 3rd and 7. Well, Drew Brees now in the shotgun. This is an obvious passing situation for the Saints. And he steps back to throw the football. There they have a blitz, and Marcus Colston over the middle on that in route gets it for the 1st down. So a big-time play to one of the Drew Brees' all-time favorite targets. Marcus Colston gets it for about 14 yards and a 1st down to about the 24-yard line. And lining up, single backfield, Reggie Bush with the handoff, and he takes it for about 4 yards, and that'll bring up 2nd down and 6 for this offense at the 21-yard line. And so far, the Saints' offense has been very impressive. Honestly, with the Purple People Eaters defense as strong as they are, I'm impressed to see Drew Brees and the Saints doing as well as they have. But that's going to be a negative 2-yard pass play to Reggie Bush, and that's going to bring up 3rd down and 8. Another passing situation for this offense, and you've got to wonder if it's going to be enough here. 2 backs backfield and the shotgun, and Drew Brees steps back. He's looking, surveying the field, and he's going to get eaten as a big-time sack by the Purple People Eaters brings up 4th and 11, and the Saints are going to have to kick a field goal. And this one's going to be about a 42.5-yard field goal right here. And there's the kick, and it's up, and it's through the uprights. So the Saints taking a 3-0 lead early in this one with 7:05 to go in the 1st quarter. The Saints are surprisingly the first team to score. Who do you think is going to end up winning this football game? You can let us all know in the comment section down below whether or not you're watching this live or in the future, as the Vikings take it back to about the 24-yard line, and the offense is going to have to do a better job than they did on the last drive, where they stalled out and missed a deep field goal attempt. And now in the I formation, they hand it off to Adrian Peterson, who takes it up for about 4 yards, which will bring up 2nd down and 6 for this Minnesota Vikings offense. About 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go here, in the 1st quarter. The offset I formation now for the Vikings. And another handoff to Adrian Peterson. This one stopped quickly. And that'll be, a loss of a yard or so? 3rd down and 7. For this Vikings offense. They're going to line up in the shotgun. I'd watch out for number 84. That's going to be a big-time target for Frank Tarkington. And he's going to chuck it deep. And he's got a man. And it's Chris Carter. And he's got it for the 1st down inside the 40 to the 37, 38-yard line. And that's a big-time pitch and catch to one of his many targets on this really amazing offense for the Minnesota Vikings as they get the ball at about the 38-yard line. Frank Tarkington steps back to throw the football, and he's got time, but he took too long as Rankins ends up with the sack, and that's going to bring up 2nd and 17 on the 7-yard loss. So that's a big-time play here by the defense. As now coming up here about the 50-yard line, Frank Tarkington steps back looking to throw, and he tosses it to Chris Carter, or one of the Carters. They do have 2 Carters. And that's going to be, yep, Chris Carter, first catch of the game. I don't know which Carter's which, to be honest with you sometimes. I guess number 80 is Chris Carter, so the other one is the other Carter. As now stepping back in the shotgun, 3rd and 14. He's looking deep, and he chucks it, and it's intercepted! And the Saints with a huge pick here and a couple of spin moves, and he takes it out to about the 39-yard line. And that is a huge interception by Tracy Porter as the Saints get it first down. Well, that's exactly how you're going to lose football games in this league, is you're going to throw those big-time interceptions when you need it the least. As Drew Brees gets the handoff to Reggie Bush, he breaks a tackle, and he shoots upfield, and his speed is going to be too much. Touchdown! And the New Orleans Saints have taken the lead. Wow, what an impressive play by Reggie Bush, and that's going to be a touchdown right here, impending the extra point, a 10-0 lead early against the heavy favorite Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings, a possible contender for the Super Bowl and the all-time team's franchise, and they are down 10-0 early at home against the New Orleans Saints, as the Vikings are going to have to change something, because they are right now in a bad spot. A big-time turnover leads to 7 points in just a quick drive by the New Orleans Saints as Reggie Bush takes it upfield. And Frank Tarkenton now, his first incomplete pass is actually a completion to the other team, which leads to a touchdown. So New Orleans is going to have to try and continue to play on defense, as a nice pass to the other Carter, down to about the 25-yard line, setting up a 2nd and 4 for the Minnesota Vikings offense. So I've got to admit, I am extremely surprised at how well the New Orleans Saints have played in this game. There are underdogs in this game by quite a bit. And there's a nice pass to Adrian Peterson for a first down, up to about the 32-yard line. But the Saints, despite being heavy underdogs, have come out playing like they need to win this game, and they really do. They are in a very tough division as well. Might not be one of the best divisions in football, but if they want to beat out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are also a heavy defensive football team, as well as the Atlanta Falcons, a Super Bowl contending team, as well as the Carolina Panthers. I mean, you've got a very tough division there where all the teams are remotely close to each other. I mean, I grant you, you know, it's not nearly as huge and as powerful as that NFC North that Minnesota's in, but that just goes to show you that if they can compete with Minnesota, they can compete with Green Bay, they can compete with the Bears, and they can compete with these best teams all time. As there's a nice little shotgun handoff to Adrian Peterson, who gets tackled behind the line of scrimmage down to the 26, and that'll bring up 3rd and 16 now for the Minnesota offense. So in another tough predicament, they line up in the single backfield formation as Tarkenton takes the snap under center, steps back to about the 20, and an easy blitz. No one picks it up, and a die with the sack. And that's going to bring up 4th down as the 2nd sack of the game for the New Orleans Saints. And this Saints defense has come to play today. I have to admit, I was not expecting this. The Saints up 10-0. They get the ball back. Darren Sproles takes it out to about the 27-yard line with just less than a minute to go in the first quarter. And the Saints up 10-0 on the Minnesota Vikings in this all-time team Madden franchise mode. And now stepping back at about the 22 is Drew Brees. He takes it to Joe Horn, and a nice little pitch and catch there, and that'll set up an easy 2nd and 2. That'll be a very nice field position for them to continue this drive in, as they are now less than 30 seconds away from the end of the quarter. New Orleans has been very impressive in this game. Steps back, and he's taken down, and the shotgun fooled no one as Carl Eller with the sack, and that'll bring up 3rd and 8. So just like that, the Vikings turn things around on this drive and force them into a tough 3rd and 8 position. And that's going to end the first quarter. So an exciting first quarter, not anything like I expected, as the New Orleans Saints up 10-0 at the end of the first quarter. And Reggie Bush leading the way on offense with a huge run for more yards of offense than I believe, don't quote me on this yet, but I believe more yards than the Vikings have in this game so far. Drew Brees over the middle to Jimmy Graham, and he catches it to the 43-yard line for a first down. Drew Brees 5 for 5, 0 incomplete passes so far in this game, but he has been sacked twice. And that was a big-time first down for the Saints. And Drew Brees stepping back to throw. And that's going to go over the middle to about the 48-yard line. So that's a 6-yard completion to Jimmy Graham. And another big-time play. As the Vikings line up. And they have to be desperate right now to try and get some defense going. Reggie Bush takes it to the other side of midfield to the 49-yard line. Reggie Bush, 81 yards rushing in this game so far. We're barely into the second quarter. He's been absolutely impressive. Not at all what I thought was going to happen. Now in the offset eye, Drew Brees fakes the handoff. Pretty bad fake, to be honest with you, as Jimmy Graham unable to complete the pass. So that's going to bring up fourth down at the 49-yard line for the Saints, and they're going to punt the football. .13-14 to go in the game, or the first half. And Morstead punts it out of bounds at the 21. So not quite inside the 20, but not a bad punt either by any means. It's really tough to hit those chip shots out of bounds. And now in the empty, Frank Tarkenton steps back and he tosses it over the middle to Carter, and he takes it out to about the 30-yard line. And that's a nice little play there for 9 yards. And now, single backfield, Frank Tarkenton. And he's not going to run the football. He's going to throw it once again. And perhaps this is how Minnesota is going to get back into the game. They're going to start throwing the football. But we'll have to see it, knowing that Frank Tarkenton has thrown an interception in this game already. And now fakes the handoff again. And Frank Tarkenton chucking the ball deep. And it's intercepted a second time. And Porter again. Tracy Porter with his second interception of the game. And the Saints defense comes up huge, which is something I don't say very often. As Drew Brees now in the empty. And he steps back, looking. And he's hit as he throws, and that's almost intercepted. That was really close to being an interception for the Vikings, which could have put them back in this game. But so far, just nothing's gone right for this Vikings offense or defense. And Drew Brees stepping back, throws it to Jimmy Graham over the middle for 5 yards, and that's going to bring up 3rd down and 5. Jimmy Graham over 25 yards receiving here in the game so far. Still plenty of time left, as now Drew Brees once again going into empty. And he tosses it, and it's intercepted by Harrison Smith, who takes it all the way down to the 7-yard line, 8-yard line. And Harrison Smith with a huge interception that could change the entire course of the game. And now inside the 8-yard line, the Vikings start the drive. Frank Tarkenton single back in the shotgun as they hand it off to Adrian Peterson, who runs into his offensive lineman and gets knocked back for a -1 yards. And now single backfield, Frank Tarkenton steps back looking to throw, and he tosses it to Kyle Rudolph, and another touchdown for the Minnesota Vikings. And just like that, they're back into this game after a pretty dismal first quarter in both offense and defense. 2 interceptions for Frank Tarkenton, and Harrison Smith gets them back in the game with a huge interception on the Vikings' side. as Darren Sproles takes it about 3 yards into the end zone, down to about the 24-yard line for Saints first down, and trying to regroup after the interception is the New Orleans Saints. They've got about 20 yards more total yards than the Vikings in this game so far. Reggie Bush takes the handoff up the middle, runs into his offensive lineman, and he goes for only about 5 yards. The blocking has been a little bit rough for both teams in this game, as the hole kind of closes really fast. Now Drew Brees looking to throw the football, and he's sacked again. And Carl Eller's second sack of the game for the Purple People Eaters, and that's the third sack of the game for the team. And now in the shotgun on 3rd and 13 comes Brees. Steps back, looking deep, and he's just going to dump it to Sproles, and he's going to lose a yard, and that's going to bring up 4th and 14. So a bad drive there for the Saints. And we're just 1 or 2 plays away from the Vikings taking the lead for the first time in this game. They are heavy favorites to win, but it's been a struggle for them so far. And a nice spin move there, and he'll take it up to about the 39-yard line with forward progress. And now Frank Tarkenton steps up with a single backfield. They've tried to be a pretty balanced team, but 2 interceptions, yep, they're going to run the ball to about the 41-yard line, so only about 2 yards, but that's definitely better than an interception, which Frank Tarkenton has already had 2 of in this first half. And that's certainly not how you win football games. In the shotgun comes Tarkenton, and he's going to fake the handoff here. Nice block. But then he runs right into the defender for a sack as Cameron Jordan will get him down, and that'll bring up 3rd and 8. As Tarkenton with a single backfield in the shotgun. And now he steps back, and he continues, and there's the screen play, and he's got a couple of blocks, and that's going to bring up a first down. So a big-time screen play works for this offense, and that puts Tarkenton over 85 yards passing on the day. The I formation now for the Vikings. And now here comes a handoff, and it's not going to go anywhere, about a yard, if that, on the run for Adrian Peterson. And now in the empty goes the Vikings. On 2nd down and 9, they're just going to go all-out passing, and they're going to throw the ball. It's going to be dropped. 3 Saints players in the vicinity trying to stop Kyle Rudolph from catching that pass. And once again in the shotgun, single backfield at about the 47-yard line is Tarkenton. And chucks it, and he's got it to Carter for a first down past the 30-yard line. And that's going to be absolutely huge for the Minnesota Vikings as they take it into Saints territory all the way down to about the 27-yard line. And now the Vikings have a shot. Adrian Peterson, shotgun handoff, 5-yard gain. And these shotgun handoffs have been working for the Vikings for most of the game. I mean, Adrian Peterson has a pretty good yard per run average. Stepping back, another shotgun handoff here, but this one only goes for about 2 yards. And that one's going to bring up 3rd down and 3 with less than 5 minutes to go in the first half. The Vikings trying to at least tie the game with a field goal. And there's another shotgun handoff. He takes it past the first down marker. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. So a big-time play there, and that's going to bring up a new set of downs from the 15-yard line. Nick Fairley on the tackle. Offset I formation come the Vikings. And they run the football with Dalvin Cook, who gets taken down easily in the backfield. 2-yard loss on the run. Not really anything going for this Vikings running game, at least in the last few plays. But they have picked up the first down, so that's definitely a plus. A nice spin move by Dalvin Cook, and oh man, it looked like he had a shot at the end zone, but he gets stopped. And that'll be 4 yards to gain to get the first. As the Minnesota Vikings step back, single backfield. And they're going to try and get into the end zone to take the lead. They throw the football to Carter, and he's got a touchdown. And the Vikings are on top. So down 10-0, they come back, and they take the lead. And that's going to put them up 14-0 pending the extra point. And he makes it. So not a bad game so far, but the Saints have to be a little bit worried now as the Vikings have taken the lead with about 3 minutes to go. They do get the ball to start the second half, but if they could get into the end zone on this possible final possession for them of the half, that would definitely put them in a good spot going in and receiving the football in the second half. As now Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints step up, and they're in the shotgun formation. Expect passes on almost every down until halftime. As he steps back, he's looking to throw the football, and he's going to get sacked. Carlos Eller with a third sack. That's his third sack of the game, as the Purple People Eaters have just been on fire, but him specifically on that defensive line has been impressive. And now they're going to run the football. Oh, no, wait, it's a fake. And he steps back. He's looking to throw. He chucks it deep. And this one all the way down to about the 25-yard line, but it falls incomplete. That was a crazy pass attempt by Drew Brees. And right into double coverage. He was really looking for something deep, and he just wasn't able to get anything on that one. Drew Brees tosses it over. Marcus Colston down to about the 24-yard line, and that's going to bring up 4th and 12. As we are down inside the 2-minute warning. For whatever reason, it stopped at 1:59 instead of 2 minutes, which is a little odd, but here comes the punt. That 1 second could make a huge difference for all we know. And now punts it all the way back to about the 13-yard line. He'll receive it, and he'll take it up to about the 29, 30-yard line. And the Vikings have a shot here. With less than 2 minutes to go, they're probably going to try and score here. So that way when the Saints get the ball in the second half, if they were to score, they wouldn't take the lead. They'd need at least a field goal to make that happen. And there's a nice little pitch and catch to the wide out for 7 yards as the Vikings line up here. 1 minute and 40 seconds to go here in the first half. And Tarkington in the shotgun here. Carter's on the move. And he steps back and he chucks it over the center to a different Carter. And Carter will take it down a yard past the line to gain. As that'll bring up 1st and 10 with 1 minute and 20 seconds and counting. Changing the play is Tarkington. Or maybe he's not, who knows. As he throws it. And that one's going to go off the defender's back. Incomplete. So a good defensive play, but also a bad positioning of the football by the quarterback. And now 2 backs backfield. Tarkington chucks the ball over the middle. He's got it to Carter down to about the 49-yard line. And that'll take us to about 1 minute to go in the first half. 3rd and 2 from nearly midfield. And Tarkington steps back looking to throw. And he tosses it to Rudolph for a first down. And he takes it past the 44. And there's the first timeout of the half for the Minnesota Vikings. 52 seconds in the first half to go. 2 backs backfield. Now stepping back, looks over the middle, and he's got it to Randy Moss, who takes it past the 30, down inside, barely inside the 30-yard line for a first down, and they are now in field goal range, so this is exactly where they want to be. Randy Moss had his first catch. He got to admit that the defense has played him pretty well to this point, as Carter with the catch takes it for about 9 yards, and that'll be about a yard shy of the line to gain. And now stepping back is Tarkington. Throws it over the middle to Kyle Rudolph, and he takes it inside the 20-yard line. And they're going to just casually walk up to the line of scrimmage. And now here comes Tarkington. And in the shotgun, less than 5 seconds to go. Time running out, and Moss catches it, and they call a timeout just in time to the 1 second mark. And they're going to kick a field goal here to go up by 7. Not much larger, or not much shorter than an extra point. Actually shorter than an extra point, I believe. And that's going to put them up 17-10 at the half. And the Vikings going to kick off here to start the second half. And New Orleans back deep, ready to receive. They haven't scored a point since the first quarter. And they've allowed 17 unanswered. So Drew Brees and the Saints have to try and get something going here as a nice little return scamper there. Saints only have 115 yards of total offense, about 100 less than the Vikings after an amazing second quarter for Minnesota getting back on track. And Reggie Bush taken down for a yard gain, and the running play does not work. New Orleans set in the shotgun, single backfield, and Drew Brees snaps it, hands it to Reggie Bush, easily getting off a block is number 99, Carl Eller, who has been in the backfield all day long. 3 sacks and now a tackle for loss, as he has just been a menace on this defensive line. Drew Brees tossing it over the middle to Jimmy Graham, who gets it for a first down to the 39-yard line. So that's a big third down conversion for the New Orleans Saints on this possession, as Drew Brees lines up in the offset I formation. And now handing the football off to Reggie Bush, who takes it up for about 2 yards. And that's going to bring up second down and 8. Not exactly the best run there for the New Orleans Saints. It's been kind of a hard day for this team. And now Drew Brees stepping back, throwing the football over the middle, and he's got it to Jimmy Graham, who has just been a monster. Drew Brees only 84 yards passing in this game. The Saints have just had a lot of trouble moving the football. But Jimmy Graham, 60 of those passing yards have gone to that guy. And Reggie Bush here with a nice little scamper for, 3 yards? That'll bring up second down and 7. So the Saints trying to get something going. They finally made it to 150 yards of offense in this game. The Vikings have been really good, and that's going to be a false start on number 69 of the offense, as the left guard jumping early. And that's going to bring up a second down and 12 for the New Orleans Saints, going into empty. And he sets up Drew Brees, dumps it off to Colston, and a nice little pitch and catch there past the 40 to the 39-yard line. I'll set up 3rd and 5, a much more manageable third down at that, as Colston goes over 25 to 26 yards receiving. And now Drew Brees stepping back, throwing it over the middle, and Joe Horn catches it, but he's going to be a yard shy of the first down marker, down at a 4th and 1, and the Saints are going to kick a 51-yard field goal here. Can they make this kick is going to be the question. And he kicks it, and it's going to go, and it's got the distance, and it's good. So a big-time field goal there separates these two teams by just 4 points, as Will Lutz with the kick and his second field goal of the game. 17-13 now, as the Vikings get the ball to about the 24-yard line, just a yard shy of where it would be if he kneeled the ball in the end zone. The Vikings having about 60 yards more of offense than the Saints do, and so far everything's been clicking with that tremendous second quarter, and a nice spin move and a hurdle, and Adrian Peterson, what looked like was going to be a negative 1 yard play, takes it all the way for almost 15 yards and a first down. Wow, that was kind of crazy to see. Adrian Peterson turned a play that nearly got swallowed up in the backfield into a huge 15-yard gain. And speaking of yard gains, that's about 10 yards right there, and that's going to be inches away from a first down marker, right on the yellow marker. But it'll be second down in inches because the game said so. And now here comes Tarkington, and he hands the ball off to Adrian Peterson for a first down. Well, all-time teams in this Madden franchise should be really interesting to watch over the course of the season. Who do you guys think is going to make it to the Super Bowl out of all of these immaculate teams? Adrian Peterson running the ball past the 45-yard line, so that'll bring up a second down and 6. About 4 yards there on the carry. But I've simulated a few franchise modes before this and to see who would win the Super Bowl, and well, it's been very inconsistent. No team has won the Super Bowl twice in a row or twice in general through at least 6 simulations of the franchise. We've seen several different teams win, well, 6 different teams to be exact. And, well, this is going to be interesting to show you guys. And I'm interested to see who wins this one, as that'll bring up a fourth down. A nice defensive play there as Dalvin Cook unable to get anything going. It'll be 4th down and 2. They're going to kick a monstrous 58-yard field goal right here. And he kicks it, and it's got the distance, and he misses it to the right. So a second missed field goal for the Vikings, and the Saints have the football in excellent field position at the 48-yard line. This is going to be a huge drive here for New Orleans to try and get back into this game, and Reggie Bush loses a yard there. That's going to bring up second down and 11 for this offense. It's been pretty crazy to watch the New Orleans Saints struggle along in this game, but they're leading this quarter 3-0 as they try and get back into the game and make something happen, as Joe Horn with a short catch takes it to midfield. 3rd down and 7 here. Drew Brees stepping back at the 46-yard line, and he tosses it over, and that'll just be about 3 yards. 4th down and 4 from the 47, and they're going to punt the football. Well, not a very good drive for New Orleans. You can't take advantage of a really bad kick decision by this team, and well, that one's going to go out at the 28-yard line, so another bad kick. And the Saints, down by 4, give the ball back at the 28-yard line to the Vikings. 5 minutes and 23 seconds to go. And Tarkington hands the ball off to Adrian Peterson. He makes a juke move, and he'll get 8 yards here. That puts him at 88 yards rushing on the day, as Adrian Peterson getting into a good position here on second down. Tarkington steps back looking to throw, and he tosses it over to Carter, and he gets it to the 40-yard line, and a nice play there by the Minnesota Vikings will give him the first down. Not a bad play for the Minnesota Vikings, and that's a big-time first down. That is absolutely huge. And here comes a handoff, and it's great defense by the Saints. We haven't been able to say that a lot, not only in this franchise mode, but just in general, referring to the Saints, who historically have had some of the worst defenses in NFL history. But it's 17-13, a surprisingly defensive football game, to say the least, as a big-time tackle will take it to the 40-yard line, and that'll bring up 3rd and 9 for this Vikings offense, as they're trying to get something going here. Tarkington in the shotgun, and he snaps the ball, fakes the handoff, looking deep, and he's got it to Kyle Rudolph. So a big-time possession continuing for the Minnesota Vikings as they're trying to put this game possibly out of reach. The Saints have only scored 3 points since the first quarter. And a touchdown here would possibly put the game away. And a big-time catch by Carter. That'll bring him past the first down marker, and that is a huge first down for the Minnesota Vikings, down to about the 34-yard line. Monumental play, to say the least, for this Vikings offense. And they step back looking to throw, and there's another pass to Carter. But you know who's been surprisingly quiet? Randy Moss. He hasn't really done anything all game for the most part, but Chris Carter, 75 yards receiving. The other Carter also has just a terrific amount of yards receiving the football. Stepping back, looking to throw, and he tosses it over, and that is once again to Carter, who doesn't get very many yards, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 2 for this team. And now here comes the Vikings. And they hand the ball off, and he's going to get stopped. And that's going to be a huge stop for the Saints, because it's still going to be a 1-score game if they can find a way to manage a touchdown. 4th down and 3. Here comes the field goal kicker, who's 1 for 3 on the day. And he kicks it, and this one is good. So it'll be 20-13, a 7-point game right here. And the Vikings kicking the ball, going deep. And Darren Sproles takes it from the end zone. And he won't even make it to the 20-yard line on a huge, huge play here for this defense. Or this, kick return, or kickoff team. Might be a little bit more accurate, to say the least. As Drew Brees, and what a sack, reaching around the blocker and dragging Drew Brees down. That's a monumental sack there for this defense, and that's going to bring up a big-time 2nd down. Another sack for the Purple People Eaters, and that is absolutely massive as the 3rd quarter comes to a close in this one. And now here in the 4th quarter, as you can see, there is the score chart. It's been a weird back and forth game. It started off with the Saints up 10-0 and then 17 unanswered points by the Vikings. And then we got a 3-3 3rd quarter. But it's going to be all up to the 4th. The 7-point advantage for the Minnesota Vikings is what separates these two teams. As the Saints with a big-time 3rd down and 6. This is absolutely huge. And Willie Snead, the 4th, with the catch. And that's going to be a big-time 1st down for the New Orleans Saints, as they are trying to get back into this game. It's been an exciting ride. Anything can truly happen in this game. It's been absolutely crazy so far. Things could change drastically, especially after that play right there that puts them in Minnesota territory. It's pretty crazy. Drew Brees stepping back here. About the 45-yard line. Steps back, looking, and he's sacked. And then just like that, Carl Eller with a 3.5 sack game so far. That's half of the team's sacks, over half of the team's sacks. And Drew Brees now in empty, 2nd down and 21. The game is getting really tight here as Jimmy Graham passes the 50 to the 48-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd and 19. As the Saints try and get something going. Jimmy Graham has 9 receptions in this game so far. That's absolutely terrific, especially for a tight end. Drew Brees stepping back, looking, He's got time, and he passes it. Willie Snead, the fourth to the 25-yard line, and that is a big-time first down as the Saints are looking really good right now. Harrison Smith with the tackle, and he's kind of the reason that the Vikings are even winning this game. That interception changed the entire course of the game, giving them an opportunity to get back into it. After being down 10-0, Harrison Smith's interception really just changed the momentum in the course of the game, as the great Notre Dame player ended up giving the offense the ball back from the 8, and then another Notre Dame player, Kyle Rudolph, got the touchdown. And, well, a big-time third down coming up for this offense at the 17-yard line, as the New Orleans Saints trying to get a first down here. And he gets the football and tosses it over to McAllister, and he's got it inside the 5-yard line down to the 4. So a big-time first and goal upcoming for the Saints. A touchdown would tie the game with just under 10 minutes to go. Drew Brees steps back. He's looking to throw, and he tosses it, and he's got it. Touchdown! And the New Orleans Saints, pending the extra point, will tie the game at 20 apiece. Well, this game is tied up with less than 10 minutes to go, and I have to admit, I never thought that the Saints would even be competing in this game, let alone tied at 20 with the all-time Minnesota Vikings team. As there comes Carter, and he jukes a man, and he gets it out to about the 22-yard line. As here comes Adrian Peterson. As you can see, he's been pretty average, to be honest with you. About 89 yards rushing the football. They've surprisingly been throwing the ball a lot more than I expected the Vikings to throw the ball. But none of it to which Randy Moss made very many grabs. As there's another catch by Carter. He has been absolutely incredible in this game so far. Both Carters have. Randy Moss has only, 2 catches, I believe, in this game. It's been absolutely wild, as 2020-9-17 between these two all-time franchises. And the Vikings throwing it deep, and he gets it. There's Randy Moss. He's been really quiet in this game, but that's a huge play, and a first down inside the 40-yard line of the Saints. And that is absolutely huge. With the Vikings and Saints tied at 20, you could not get a bigger pass than that from Randy Moss. And there's a handoff, and that's going to go nowhere. -2 yards on the run. Adrian Peterson hasn't been able to get much going, as Tarkington, man, those 2 interceptions in the first quarter have been really factoring in to the Saints being able to compete in this game. The difference in overalls of these teams just surprising. There's a flag. Is that going to be a face mask on the defense? That could be a huge, huge mistake by the Saints. And it is. It is, in fact, a face mask. And that is a huge play by Cameron Jordan. And that's going to put him all the way to the 18-yard line. The Vikings, with 8 minutes to go, this could be huge. The Saints haven't been able to do much in this game. They got a huge touchdown on the last drive to tie it up, but the Vikings could be in a terrific position if they're able to get into the end zone. I formation for the Vikings, and they're going to change the play at the line. Adrian Peterson gets stuffed at the line of scrimmage, 0 yards. I gotta say, though, the Saints defense has impressed me. 2 interceptions by the same guy, but they've been able to stop Adrian Peterson relatively consistently in this game, and they've played some pretty decent pass coverage. Besides, 3 catches by Randy Moss in this game, it has been a terrific defensive performance for the New Orleans Saints defense, which has been honestly terrible throughout the course of history. And here comes a field goal. This is a great defensive stop here by the Saints, with under 6:20 to go in this game, tied at 20. And there it goes through the uprights, and the Minnesota takes a 3-point lead over the New Orleans Saints. And here comes the kickoff. Drew Brees has 6 minutes and 14 seconds. That is a lot of time. The question is, can the Saints offense actually be able to go down the field and score? They were able to do it last drive, but that was their first touchdown since the first quarter. And you can make an argument that that first quarter touchdown was a lucky break off of a nearly 70-yard run by Reggie Bush. Drew Brees looking back, throwing the football, and he gets it out to his wide out. I believe that was Marcus Colston who gets it for 5 yards. That puts Drew Brees over 200 yards passing on the day. It has surprisingly been a very slow day throwing the football for Drew Brees. I mean, I know the Vikings defense is one of the best all-time defenses, as the Purple People Eaters have been impressive, but... And there's a nice play to McAllister for a first down past the 35-yard line as the New Orleans Saints, they're looking very impressive in this game. Shotgun formation, single back, and Drew Brees steps back, throws it, and almost intercepted off the face mask of the defender. And if that was intercepted, that could have very well been the game. So a lucky break for the New Orleans Saints that could have ended the game early. Single backfield, Drew Brees with another opportunity here. Steps back, looking to throw, and he throws it over to Jimmy Graham, who gets it, and he's outrunning Harrison Smith, and he gets it inside the 10, inside the 5, and he's down at the 3-yard line. Is the Saints, technical difficulties apparently on those weird black flashes. And now I formation, running the football. Oh, there's a fake, a brilliant fake, and he gets it all out of bounds. And that was so close to changing the entire complexion of the game. I mean, not that that Jimmy Graham catch didn't. That Jimmy Graham catch puts him over 130 yards receiving on the day. And there's a great defensive stop, stopping Reggie Bush down to about the 5-yard line. As you can see, the offensive comparison, the Saints, especially recently, doing really well on the offensive side of the ball. Both teams around 350 yards of offense. 350 yards of offense. And now in the shotgun, Drew Brees from the 10-yard line, stepping back, looking, and he's sacked at the 13. So a huge defensive play, and that could bring up a field goal right here. And now stepping back is the field goal kicker. 23-20. And it is good. Terrific kick there by Lutz, and it is 23-23. Wow, what a game. Both teams tied with 3:15 to go. And it is going to come down to the wire here. And down to about the 22-yard line go the Minnesota Vikings on that return. Anybody can still win. 350 yards of offense for the Vikings. 314 yards of offense for the Saints. Both teams have been very impressive. And there's a big-time defensive stop there. Adrian Peterson still not able to get to the 100-yard marker on the day running the football. Definitely didn't expect Adrian Peterson not to have 100 yards rushing against this kind of weak Saints defense. But they have come to play, and oh man, here it goes, and that's going to be enough. That's going to put him over the 100-yard mark. And just as I say that, they get the first down, and a big-time play here as things continue to work well in the Saints or the Vikings' favor. Last play before the 2-minute warning here. He steps back, Tarkington looking, and he's got a man, and he takes it out to about the 49-yard line. Exactly 2 minutes to go in the game. 2nd and 3, 2 minutes to go. Anybody can win. Still plenty of time. And Tarkington steps back at about the 42, and he gets it to Rudolph, who's unable to make the grab. And that's a big defensive stop here, bringing down a 3rd and 3 situation for the Minnesota Vikings. Looking back at about the 42-yard line is Tarkington on the shotgun. in the shotgun. Steps back to about the 40. Tosses it to his running back, Adrian Peterson, who takes it to midfield, and a timeout by the Saints on 4th and 2. And that could be huge, as a defensive stand by the New Orleans Saints forces a punt from midfield. And now here comes Quigley. And that one goes out of bounds at about the 26-yard line for the Vikings. And the Saints will get the football with 1 minute and 48 seconds and 2 timeouts left in this game. Shotgun. Drew Brees stepping back. And he's going to go down for a sack at the 20-yard line as Jim Marshall's 3rd sack of the game. That is 2 players with 3 or more sacks. 8 total sacks by this defense as the Purple People Eaters have been just eating the quarterback alive. Stepping back is Brees. And nice spin move by the quarterback, but then he gets taken down for a sack. Alan Page, his 1st sack of the game. And back-to-back sacks for the Vikings as the time ticks below 1 minute and 10 seconds in this game. Drew Brees in the eye. And they run the football with Sproles down to about the 20-yard line, and a timeout by Minnesota with 1 minute left. Those sacks were huge. Harrison Smith's 3rd tackle of the game, and a big 4th and 17 upcoming for this offense. And Morstead kicks the ball as deep as he can get it. Back all the way inside the 20 down to about the 17-yard line. And a nice juke move there will take it to about the 36. 50 seconds. 50 lone ticks left to go off the clock. It's anyone's ball game here in Minnesota. Down at the 30, the Vikings looking to make something happen here. Tarkington back. He tosses it to Carter, who catches the ball. I can't believe it. He caught the ball inside the 45 to the 43-yard line. Tarkington in the shotgun steps back, looking to throw, and he goes down for a sack. And Wilkes, with a great defensive play, gets it to about the 44-yard line. This is still going to be a very deep field goal kick with 31 seconds to go if they can't get the 1st down. Stepping back, looking, tossing it. Rudolph caught inside the 30, and that could be it, folks. And we're inside the last 5 seconds of the game. And the Saints will call a timeout with 4 seconds. 4 lone ticks on the clock. It's first down. The kicker iced, but is it going to be enough? This one a 42-yarder. And he kicks it. And this one, as time expires, goes down the middle, and the Vikings survive. What a game. And it comes down to a field goal. The Vikings survive, a very, very good Saints football team, as the game comes to a close. I'd like to thank you all for watching this episode. Make sure you click that thumbs up button down below and leave a comment for me about what you liked and what you didn't like about this series, anything that you want to see from this channel. And, well, we're going to move on to week 2 of this simulation all-time team franchise mode. It's been exciting. It's been really exciting, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it too, because I certainly have. And now we move on.